Hello and thanks for joining us for the Midday News. I'm Carol Kido Jr. Kumul Petroleum Holding Limited has criticized Puma Energy for leaking a sensitive letter to the media without prior consultation. In a media release dated June 25, 2024, KPHL Managing Director Wapu Song denied accusations of non-cooperation, explaining that KPHL has been negotiating with Puma on long-term supply terms due to Puma's inability to provide spot cargo. Song detailed a recent incident where Puma initially refused to buy an 8 million-litre shipment of Jet A1 fuel from KPHL, sourced from ExxonMobil. This refusal tied to the absence of a nearly $800 million, almost 4 billion kina, long-term supply deal over 24 months led to financial losses for KPHL, including demurrage costs and a discounted sale price. He stressed that despite financial strains and impacts on foreign reserves, KPHL has stepped in to support the country by importing 3 fuel cargoes recently. The Papua New Guinea Law Society, Papua New Guinea Center for Judicial Excellence, and the PNG Department of Justice and Attorney General hosted a seminar on ethical practice requirements for lawyers in Port Moresby yesterday. More than 100 lawyers communed to hear the discussions led by the president of the PNG Law Society, Hubert Namani, Secretary for the Department of Justice and Attorney General, Dr. Eric Kwa, including guest speaker Deputy President of the Industrial Court of Queensland, Catherine Hartigan. Critical topics of ethical practice, awareness of the reforms to the National and Supreme Court structure, and amendments to the Lawyers Act are some key highlights discussed during this seminar.
Lawyers, we bear a profound responsibility to uphold the highest ethical standards in our practices, ensuring justice, fairness, and integrity in all our dealings.
Something that I've been also personally passionate about since I've been at the law school, trying to see how we can improve the profession to make it more reliable, make it more honest, because that's what our people require nowadays. In a country where we've been ravaged by corruption, negativity, there must be some good stories in our communities, and so you are part of the community.
In regional news, members of a pro-independence movement in the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia demanded on Monday the release and immediate return of Indigenous Kanak leader Christian Taine, who was flown to mainland France for pre-trial detention after recent deadly unrest. Taine, a leader of the movement known as the Field Action Coordination Unit, was flown out overnight Saturday along with 6 other activists whom French authorities accuse of orchestrating the 2-week unrest in May that left 9 people dead, caused widespread destruction, and led French President Emmanuel Macron to make an emergency visit. Taine and 9 other pro-independence leaders were placed under house arrest when the violence started. The Kanak people have long sought to break free from France, which first took the Pacific archipelago in 1853 and granted citizenship to all Kanaks in 1957. The May violence was in response to attempts by Macron's government to amend the French constitution and change voting lists in New Caledonia, which Kanaks feared would further marginalize them. The New South Wales Crime Commission is calling for stricter controls on personal tracking devices after discovering their extensive use by organized crime gangs and domestic violence perpetrators. The Commissioner is pushing for new regulations that would specifically target the misuse of these devices by stalkers, aiming to curb the potential for abuse and enhance safety for individuals at risk. This move highlights the growing concerns around the privacy and security implications of tracking technology.
Isla's ex tracked her every move.
I started to time how long it was taking him to arrive at the same destinations as what I was, and it was just too uncanny.
Today it was revealed he was one of many. Since 2010, 82% of those charged with illegally using a tracking device were committing domestic violence offences. 37% of those who purchased them were known to police, and 15% for their involvement in serious and organised crime. Some devices, such as Apple AirTags or Samsung Smart Tags, have anti-stalking technology built in. They'll alert you if an unknown tracker is nearby. It's the covert devices the Commissioner is concerned about because it's almost impossible to track down who owns them.
If the retailers were required to record the name, the serial number, the IMEI on the device, we'd have a head start for when the device was found placed on someone's vehicle.
He also wants to restrict who can buy them in the first place, but Isla says it's not enough, with devices available to anyone online.
Calls are intensifying for significant reforms to apprehend domestic violence orders after a woman in Australia was murdered by her husband despite having an order in place. Her family argues that the system is not effectively protecting women, highlighting a need for improved safety measures and enforcement.
Donna Thornell now lives in her daughter's house and is raising her children. She's created a tribute to Christy, capturing happy memories from before she was murdered.
That will never leave me. I go through that every single day.
Christy Armstrong was killed by her former husband Troy when he ran her car off the road near her home at Molong in June last year. He was charged with murder but died in jail earlier this month. Donna Thornell says her daughter's death followed years of coercive control, financial and psychological abuse.
He said to Christy, if you go, when you come back, the house will be burnt down, the cat will be dead, and you'll find me dead.
Christy had taken out an ADVO against her ex-partner. It was breached the day she died.
Oh, they're nothing. They mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. It didn't work.
Anne-Marie Mioche heads up a domestic violence support provider servicing more than half of the state. Like Donna, she has little faith in ADVOs.
For a man who has decided he's going to get that woman, no matter what, that piece of paper is not going to protect her.
Crime figures also paint a worrying picture. The 10 council areas with the highest rates of AVO breaches are all in regional New South Wales. In recent years, Walgett, the Moree Plains and Broken Hill have regularly featured in the top 3.
Campaigners say the justice system needs to prioritise a woman's safety rather than the perpetrator's presumption of innocence.
I'd really like the whole system to be looked at from a woman's perspective.
In a statement, New South Wales Police say regular checks are made on ADVO compliance.
Climate change, transnational crimes and geopolitical tensions are at the forefront of the Pacific Regional and National Security Conference. Over 150 diplomats and Pacific Island officials gathered in Suva to address security risks and plan for the safety of future generations. Several Pacific Island countries are facing shared challenges and seeking collective solutions to address these issues. Rolin Tekon from Vanuatu's National Security Council Secretariat highlighted her country's challenges, saying that Vanuatu's greatest threats include climate change and human security issues, particularly non-communicable diseases, which currently pose the greatest threat to Vanuatu's population. The Pacific Regional and National Security Conference will conclude today. The American government is prepared to provide direct assistance to Fiji in combating the escalating cases of drug trafficking in the country. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell said this during a roundtable discussion with journalists at the margins of the recently concluded Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture in Hawaii. He said the issue of drug trafficking and high usage of illicit drugs amongst the population needs to be confronted directly, and the government of Fiji has to be commended for openly acknowledging its prevalence and its commitment to address it. Meanwhile, major drug busts in the Western Division early this year resulted in a significant seizure of 4.8 million tons of methamphetamine, which was intended for re-exporting, and 13 people were arrested and are currently facing charges in court. After losing the opening match of the 2024 State of Origin Series, the New South Wales Blues are out for vengeance tonight at the MCG as they take on Queensland in the second game of the series. While the main game will be what's on the minds of most, it's not all that will be taking place at the Melbourne Cricket Ground tonight as the state of Victoria turns it on for what will be a near-capacity crowd for the Origin Series opener.
A changed New South Wales Blues side will make the trek to Melbourne Cricket Ground in an attempt to keep the 2024 State of Origin Series alive against the Queensland Maroons. The Blues have made 5 changes for Game 2 of the series. The first, the compulsory one of those, was to replace Joseph Swalihi. He suspended for the hit on Reece Wells, with the superstar and possible X-Factor Latrell Mitchell coming into the side for the first time in sky blue colours since 2021. Elsewhere, Dylan Edwards is back into the side for James Tedesco after being replaced during the camp for Game 1 with injury, while Nico Hines has also been axed from the spine. Mitchell Moses comes into the team for him with a mandate of improving the kicking game. Cameron Murray is also back from injury, replacing Cameron McInnes, while Hudson Young is the unlucky forward to miss out on the bans, which has been rebalanced. In his place, utility Connor Watson comes into the side with the ability to play hooker or across the backline positions. The big call for Billy Slater was to drop Selvin Kobo. The coach explained after his squad selection that Kobo's axing was a mix of form and fitness, but it's understood he would have been fit to play Wednesday evening if selected. In his place, Kurt Capwell, who himself has only just come back from injury and has struggled for form at the Warriors, but he has never let Queensland down before. Felice Kaufusi is the other man into the side to replace Jermaine Hopwood, with the middle forward to miss out with a back injury after making his Origin debut in Game 1. Queensland were also sloppy in patches though, and without major changes will rely on the same group of 17 to do the job again, with the likes of Harry Grant needing improved performances to repeat the result they managed in Sydney, a place they often struggled to win even during enormous run of success over the years. Queensland would obviously love nothing more than a dead rubber back at home, but there is little doubt they will be up against it during Game 2 against a fired-out Blues side looking to make amends for Game 1 and capitalizing on a similar effort level with an even playing ground. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
And that ends our news update. Do join us tonight at 6 for the main bulletin.